What's going on, guys? It's Michael MGF, and today I'm going to be doing another custom LEGO minifigure showcase video, and this time I've got Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars Rebels Season 2, and a lot of you guys probably forgot that I was even making this minifigure, but I actually started on Ahsoka here the same night that the Rebels Season 1 finale had aired, and Ahsoka was revealed to be the Fulcrum secretly helping the Rebels, and you know, I was just, being the fact that my channel exists today because of the Clone Wars and how much I love this series and how disappointed I was to, you know, when Disney came in and shut everything down and prevented us from finding out what would happen to all these characters that didn't appear in Revenge of the Sith. You can imagine why I was so thrilled when it was revealed that not only was Ahsoka alive and well 14 years later, but Captain Rex, Commander Wolf, Commando Gregor, all still around, all survived the events of Revenge of the Sith. And I was like, oh my god, I have to watch the series now, because if you guys didn't know, I completely skipped Season 1 just because of how disappointed I was, given the fact that Rebels is supposed to be the successor to the Clone Wars, and that's a whole nother subject. I'm hoping that the fact that these characters, along with, of course, freaking Darth Vader, are now in the series, that maybe I'll appreciate it a bit more. We'll see, but I absolutely had to make Ahsoka. She's one of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time, and I met Ashley Eckstein several times in Star Wars Weekends, and she's awesome. I'm glad that she's got the opportunity to be voicing Ahsoka again now that she's 30 years old in the timeline. So, totally insane. I wanted to have this showcase video out on the day that the digital release of the Season 2 premiere came out. That didn't work out because these parts for her lightsabers did not arrive on time, and I wanted to maybe have Captain Rex to put in this showcase as well, but that didn't pan out either. Didn't have enough time, but I decided I would finish Ahsoka anyway and get this showcase video out sooner rather than later. So without further ado, let's get started. Before I get started on Ahsoka, guys, I do want to mention that my family and I are going down to Florida this Sunday, and I won't be back until like next Thursday or Friday, so I'm going to try to get the review on the Carnage Shield Sky Attack and a few photos to go up, you know, while I'm gone, and, you know, schedule those before I leave. So I'm going to be gone, but still on social media and all that stuff, so in case you see a little bit of a lack of activity on my channel, you know, you guys know why. So, yeah, we have a lot of stuff from our old house down in like 3 storage units that we're going to go down there to get, and it's going to be one big move that we're going to be doing for the next week. So yeah, leaving Sunday, man. But yeah, so anyway, Ahsoka here. Ahsoka turned out to be absolutely one hell of a minifigure for, I think, a lot of reasons. The number one reason being how great her Leku turned out. And the Leku is what, like, these are actually referred to, the tails that are on you know, Togruta's heads. But the headpiece is actually the rubber shock T headpiece from the T6 Jedi Shuttle, which was a 2011 set, and LEGO still has never used this rubber headpiece again. So it was the only one I had actually from the original set. So I took that and I painted it fully white, and over the span of a few months of on and off work, I somehow managed to get all the patterns painted onto them, and it was not easy. As you can see, it was just as time consuming as it looks, and you know, painting everything and getting it as accurate as possible, it was not easy, and it was incredibly time consuming, but it still did turn out, I think, really, really great, and absolutely is the number one standout feature about this minifigure is just how great all the patterns ended up turning out. But I still don't like working with heavy amounts of white paint, so that wasn't exactly the most fun part about this minifigure, but it still did top off this minifigure, like I said, regardless. And she has like the I don't really know what you would call it, but this sort of like plating, armor plating, crown type thing above her forehead there. That is painted on as well. And then I also, you can see the face. I should mention right now, the entire figure is fully painted. Everything on this figure is painted by me. And the face, I actually went with the realistic eyes. I didn't go with the like Clone Wars style animated eyes, because if you guys probably, I'm sure you probably have already, you know, you've been able to tell that LEGO completely dropped that whole concept, you know, starting with the Rebels set. So I decided I would drop that concept for this minifigure too and not even attempt that. So you can see that's what I did here, and I painted on standard eyes, and I tried to get the likeness as, you know, as good as possible. And something else you might notice about the tails is similar to the Shock T minifigure from back in 2011. I painted the forehead onto the actual piece, and then the design continues onto the head, and so that was definitely pretty interesting. And you know, like I said, working with you know, large amounts of white paint is never fun. So what I actually did for her head was I painted all these designs you see on her face light gray, and then I went over them with white just so I could be as accurate as possible, not have to mess around with the white paint too much. But yeah, then you can see on her arms here, I got the exposed skin. Like I've got the sleeves here painted on her. I guess you can, you know, her exposed skin, like her shoulders, and then you can see I've also got these little gaps of exposed skin that she has. I don't know why. That's part of the design, I guess, though. And those are painted on. They're sort of like a triangular sort of shape, and I also have, like, I guess what you could refer to as the communicators or comm links on her wrists. They sort of look like, I mean, I'm not really sure if that's what they are. They were almost identical in the show, and usually characters don't have more than one comm link, so I don't really know if that's what they're supposed to be. But even Dave Filoni referred to Ahsoka's new armor as like some armor that she might have found going into like an abandoned like Jedi temple or something of the sort. And so I think that's definitely kind of cool, and that's what I obviously try to portray here. But yeah, so if you go ahead and remove the torso to give you a better look at, or remove the headpiece to give you a better look at the torso, you can see that the torso is fairly simple, but still pretty accurate to the new armor design that she has. And you can see I actually have this like circular belt piece. It starts on the torso and then extends down onto the actual belt with, you know, added details. And then on the back of the torso here, you can see I do have very minimal detail. There really isn't much to paint onto the back of Ahsoka. If you look at you know, her new outfit in the show, she has absolutely nothing on her back. So I painted on what you see here, and I think it definitely works. And you can see I've got this little pouch painted here too with you know, a few dots on that. And then also her legs. Let me go ahead and put the headpiece back on. Her legs, though, you can see I use like a metallic green color. I've used this color several times, especially on my Halo figures that I did last year. But I did add a pretty heavy weathered effect to it, and you can kind of see that showing through. I also use a shade here on the dark brown, and you'll notice if I go ahead and remove her lightsabers temporarily, and I guess I'll just go ahead and move her hands up, you can see that she does have like these patterns painted on each one of these, like I guess you could refer to them as like armor plating as well, or sort of like these flaps that come down on the front of her legs and on the sides. And I have a similar pattern. It's actually meant to look identical. You know, this pattern here is meant to look identical to this one, and I also try to make it look similar on the front, but given that it's, you know, painted onto an actual belt piece, it wasn't exactly easy to make it look like exactly like this. So I tried to make them all as similar as I could get them, and you might notice if you look really closely that each one actually not only has an outline of black, but also an outline of olive green before that, just for some added detail. And then I also have, you know, like the rest of the tan armor plating that she has here, and then that extends over, you know, over onto the bottom halves of her boots as well. So then, of course, the legs are posable and all that good stuff. So aside from that, that's really it for Ahsoka. You can see I do have like the tan clothing that she has that actually kind of extends onto the sides a little bit. So, I mean, painting-wise, that's pretty much it for Ahsoka. And like I said, it was incredibly time-consuming to make the headpiece for the most part. That was definitely the most time-consuming part about making the figure. That, and then the legs, I think, would come in at a close second, because it was definitely a very time-consuming design to pull off. But given how much I love Ahsoka as a character, I knew I absolutely had to make this minifigure, and I cannot wait to see how the fight will play out between her and Vader on the series. But the lightsabers, you might notice, are actually clear, and I know a lot of you guys think that they are blue, but they're not. If you actually watch some featurettes that Lucasfilm released on their channel, their Star Wars channel, Dave Filoni actually did mention that she is, to show, like, I guess, like, to represent her non-affiliation, she has these white lightsabers, and obviously I'm not going to use white pieces. That would have looked absolutely ridiculous, so of course I was going to go with clear, but LEGO doesn't actually make clear pieces, and Ahsoka sports Jar Kai 14 years later still, so one lightsaber, this one here, is actually shorter than the other, because this is the lightsaber that she uses, you know, for attacking and, you know, the offensive, and then, you know, for her defensive lightsaber, she's got the standard size one that she uses, you know, to deflect laser bolts and things like that. But the actual piece that these rods originated from was this. You guys have probably seen this piece before, but I just pretty much cut out the center area and repurposed that for her lightsaber blades while trying to make the edges, as you can see here, look as clean cut as possible. So aside from all of that, that is pretty much it for Ahsoka, and I think this minifigure turned out absolutely awesome. Definitely some of my best paintwork, I think, in quite a while. I actually did watch portions of the Rebels Season 2 premiere, and obviously they only released the premiere. It's not actually going to be, you know, fully airing until October, and my God, I'm not going to spoil it, but that scene at the end, or actually, I guess you can kind of say those two scenes with God, I don't want to spoil who's in the episode. I think it's all safe to assume that Ahsoka's in the premiere, right? Well, that last scene with Ahsoka, and then I'm not going to spoil it, but holy crap, I cannot believe, like, I was watching that, and I'm like, that moment just happened, and it was super cool, and like it hit me in all the Clone Wars feels, and I was like, oh my God, it was really awesome. So I'm definitely looking forward to the rest of Rebels Season 2, and like I've said before, I know I haven't exactly been the biggest fan of Rebels for a number of different reasons, you know, but I think now that, like I've probably said numerous times in this video by now, the fact that Ahsoka, you know, Captain Rex, and a bunch of other returning characters from the Clone Wars, even Hondo, are back, I definitely think there's a lot for me in the series now, and I'm going to be watching it from here on out, and I'm looking forward to the rest of it in Season 2 and, you know, onward, man. So, yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this up.
I can show you the world. Shine and shimmer.
Alright guys, and there you go, the showcase video on my custom Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars Rebels Season 2, and if you enjoyed the showcase video, or maybe found yourself inspired to make your own Ahsoka or other Rebels characters, be sure to let me know by dropping this video a like below and or your opinion on the figure down in the comments, because you guys know your support, feedback, all the things really does mean a lot. It definitely goes a long way, guys, and you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, by the way. Links to all three of those are always down in the description below as well, and there I'm going to be posting all kinds of preview photos of my upcoming Ant-Man minifigures. I'm going to be showcasing 4 Ant-Man minifigures just before the release on July 16th, but until then, it's really just going to be potentially the showcase on the entire Achievement Hunter team. And if you want to talk minifigures that hit the back burner, Ahsoka definitely did not get it as bad as the Achievement Hunter minifigures did. I must have started on them the beginning of the year, and they're still not finished completely. I mean, they've been delayed so long, those figures in their showcase, that one of them even left. I mean, in real life, one of the Achievement Hunters, Ray, left. I mean, that's how long I've been working on them. I'm not even working on them, just how long they've been delayed. So I'm going to try to finish them up soon and get them showcased before I do that showcase video for Ant-Man on July 16th. So until then, it's probably just going to be that video, and then also it's going to be some reviews on the new superhero sets for the summer line, for DC and Marvel, and maybe even some analysis videos, depending on what we see at San Diego Comic-Con this year, and some other cool stuff. But I mean, let's just talk about this. I cannot believe that, just being the Clone Wars fan that I am, loving the series from start to finish, 2008 to 2013, I never thought that this would even be remotely possible, that Ahsoka would be 30 years old and somehow meet Vader and face off against her former master. It's like, it is going to be such an emotional fight that as a Star Wars fan, I am really excited to see how it might happen, how the animation team over at Lucasfilm will handle a fight between such iconic characters from the Star Wars universe. But at the same time, I'm dreading it because I really do love Ahsoka as a character. I spent the entire series, the first half of my teenage years, watching her develop as a character under Anakin's wing, and it's like, to think that he could actually kill her now as an adult. I mean, she's 30 years old. She's not a kid anymore, but he still did train her. He knows her moves and how she fights. It's like, it's going to be such a dark episode when this inevitably happens. And like I said, I'm looking forward to it, but I'm really dreading it because I've even met Ashley Eckstein a few times, like I mentioned at the start of this video, who voices Ahsoka, and I'm so glad that she's finally back to voice her, but I don't want that to mean that she's back to just basically like conclude Ahsoka's story and like basically just provide the voice for her ending. Like, I really hope she makes it past season 2. There's a lot that, a lot of directions that Rebels can go. I just hope Ahsoka's death isn't one of them, because it's like, I think it's been almost 8 years that we will have been following Ahsoka's story since the Clone Wars movie came out. So yeah, just wanted to get my thoughts out on that, because the Clone Wars is quite literally responsible for the creation of my channel. So having, pretty much what you can consider in some ways to be the main character potentially dying, I just figure I would, voice my opinion on how much that would suck. So yeah, aside from that though, guys, that is it for this video, and I will catch you later. All right, bye. If you enjoyed the showcase video or maybe found it...
The apprentice lives.
About to get real, shit is.
GF, and today I'm going to be doing another... Thanks to all three of those are dead. Rebels Season 1 premiere. It was the finale, Ross, and the difference between the two words. Yo, man, by dropping this video a like below. This is going to keep happening. But you can also...